Hello, everybody. My name is Jeremy, and welcome back once again to the Kanto region for one last time here in Viridian City. That's right, folks. We are finishing Viridian City in this episode, and the first thing we got to do is something that I have completely neglected for the entirety of this project, which is putting in power lines. These are a super distinctive feature of Japanese cities. You see them absolutely everywhere. And I needed to just go back through the entire city and run power lines along the streets. Boy, I wish I did this as I was going, because this is a huge pain to go back and do later. And in particular, this is a huge pain to go back and do later before you go back and do your final details. You'll see a little bit later in the episode what I mean. But I'm going through here, I'm running kind of like bigger power lines with transformers on them along the main arterials of the city, and then going through all of the side streets with these kind of smaller 3-wire telegraph poles. Just making sure that absolutely everywhere has some kind of power line on it. I'm not doing this super detailed the way that some people would do it. You know, I'm just kind of saying that if there is a power line on the street that everybody's getting power. I know that's not really how it works. I know that there should be wires connecting to each house, but God help us, I just don't have that kind of time. Over here, we are at one of the train crossings. As somebody pointed out to me, this is extremely dangerous with this huge hill and this huge wall right next to it. There's actually walls on both sides. You really can't see trains coming, but luckily now we have some barriers. I downloaded the right assets for this, so I'm just going to all of my level train crossings and putting those the way that they're supposed to be. For some reason, I couldn't get the Bob mod to set them up the way that they're supposed to be set up. I can't get it to replace the vanilla train barriers with the Japanese ones. Not quite sure why, but so now there's just kind of like a procedural object version of it there. Cars are clipping through it. We just got to live with that. Over here, fixing that intersection that I did really early on in the Viridian City project, just making it make a little bit more sense. And over here, putting a green turning lane, just to kind of really nicely visually indicate to people where they are supposed to be if they want to turn onto this bridge from the main road. Over here, making the right lane a right turn only lane. I really like the way that this looks, and I kind of wish that I had added more turning lanes throughout the city, because I think this actually looks really cool, and it would have been a nice little extra thing to add around. Now I'm going around and adding some signs in places where I think they'd be appropriate, putting some tetrapods along these exterior breakwaters. I guess I should have probably put some land there as well for them to be keeping from being eroded, but we're just going to have to imagine, I guess, that there is land underneath there. Adding a couple of extra barges to this little breakwater here, and a couple more signs. I'm not really paying super close attention to what these signs say or what they are. I just figure they look like they're office buildings, and these look like they are company signs. And I'm just trying to use green colors for the most part, just to kind of reinforce that color palette. We're not going to be doing a lot of green for a while, so I figure, why not go a little nutty with the green here? This is the main police station, which I think I placed off camera, as it were, and just adding some police signage to it, just to really drive that home, really let you know what's going on here. This sign on this little warehouse, I think, is for like a kosher food company. I might be wrong, but I did see a Star of David there. And now I'm going back through. I talked about this a few episodes ago, that I wanted to do this sort of ivy motif around the city. Here you see me struggling with these freaking power lines, man. Huge pro tip, by the way, if you're into detailing your cities, don't put the power lines down until you're ready, because once you do, you can't do anything behind them with prop snapping. Super annoying, real pain. But yeah, I'm going around here just throwing ivy on a bunch of surfaces by the seaside. I'm not going that far into the city with it. I'm just kind of keeping it here by the mouth of the river where we meet the harbor. It just kind of it's really labor intensive, and I didn't really want to keep doing it, to be perfectly honest with you. Now I'm adding those bus lines. This one runs all the way across downtown out to the Big Buddha, and watching these buses start to show up. And yeah, our terminal is pretty busy right now. And then we're going to add a second line on the other side of the city. This one is going to run along the waterfront out to the baseball stadium, and then back through this big residential area over to Giovanni's gym. And that's going to be our other bus line. And actually, they're extremely well used, so that's pretty exciting, I guess. There's not a lot of traffic around, so I'm not really saving myself from any sort of trouble here, but it's still nice to see people use the things that you make, I guess. Now I'm going around and throwing some cubes into some of these warehouses, fire trucks and ambulances and garbage trucks and stuff, just to get all the functionality together so that the city actually works the way that it's supposed to. And now this is going to be the main project of the episode. This is kind of right next to the city, right next to this highway interchange. We've had this kind of banana shape sitting up against the mountain for the whole time, and I'd always had this planned, and this is going to be the Viridian Forest. This is a big part of the game. After you leave Viridian City and head out towards Pewter City, you go through the Viridian Forest, which is a place where you encounter a lot of the really most mid Pokemon that you will encounter in the game. You get a lot of Pidgeys, you get a lot of Rattatas, you get like Beedrills and Butterfrees and all of them, all your regs, if you will. And well, I wanted to represent it with something that felt a little bit more interesting than just a forest, because there's a lot of forest on the map already. We've already got plenty of that around. There's no shortage of big, thick forest around here. So I decided that, basically what I want to do is create sort of a big park that is sort of like a network of Shinto shrines that lead from here to Pewter City. And the first step of that is just kind of setting up how you're actually going to get to this network of shrines. Because we're pressed right up against the mountain, I had to build this little tunnel. I think it looks really cool, though, having this road just kind of like split off from the highway and just go straight into a little tunnel. Not a huge one, just a little one that ducks underneath like this one ridge of this mountain. And I'm putting these rock sheds to protect from falling rocks and what have you. And I think this ends up looking super nice, the way that it kind of turns out and connects with the other rocks that I've put around off camera. So now over here at the end of this tunnel, next to the highway, we're going to start working on a really big shrine. And I hope I got at least some of this right. I think I'm starting to get a better idea of how shrines work, how they're supposed to look. But I definitely do not feel 100% on this. So please let me know if any of this is goofy, if any of this doesn't make sense. But basically, I wanted this one to be pretty substantial, because so far I've only really built little ones. The one really big holy site that we have is a Buddhist one. I wanted a Shinto one as well. So basically, this is kind of a big parking area. I'm using these castle walls on the side here just to really give this the look of something that is like really super important. Like, this has been here a long time. This is a big feature of the city. This is something that people visit for. I guess the Big Buddha probably is too. But just kind of trying to really enshrine this, if you will. And I think it's pretty cool. I think it turns out pretty nice. But basically, just kind of trying to fill out the forest next to this. I'm gonna spare you a lot of it. I filled out a lot of the forest around the city just for visuals' sake, and it's a pretty tedious process. And I'm not gonna show you all of it. You can thank me for that. But yeah, so basically we have this gate. I wanted to make it a really grand, really big gate. It's super decorated. It's not like your standard shrine gate, but I believe, religiously speaking, that it does serve the same purpose that the little ones do. And I do add some little ones around here and there just for good measure, and really to make this really make this as opulent as we can make it. So we've got our main shrine building. We've got a little shrine office over here to the side. And then on the other side, we're going to put this little, they call it a treasure hall, the asset. I see a lot of different types of building on different shrine maps that I look at, different purposes for them. They're for like a ceremonial dance sometimes, or I don't know, something like that anyway. Over in the front, I put some fountains. I figured, why not 2 fountains? It's a pretty big place that a lot of people probably come to. So, the one fountain would probably start to get pretty darn crowded. And otherwise, just using some of the more typical shrine decorations and using this very old King Leno asset. This is a... It's called an invisible park gate. It's not really quite invisible, but you can make it invisible now with the help of mods. And you can see here I'm stretching out this place to be absolutely massive, and it makes its way all the way over to Pewter City. I'm hoping, I don't know if it'll actually work out this way in-game, but I'm hoping that people will be able to and will readily walk from Viridian City all the way over to Pewter City. Only time will tell if people will actually do that, but that's the hope anyway. That's how it works in the Pokemon game. Now I'm using the matching wall for this big decorated gate, and realizing that the land here is extremely uneven. It starts to dip down towards that wall, so I'll go back in just a moment with some ploppable grass just to fill it up. And this is kind of it for the main part of this big main shrine. We're just going to kind of close it out here with another wall, and then just kind of start building these paths and come back into landscape. And these paths are going to connect to the greater shrine network. And I think it's I think it looks all right. I like I said before, I'm definitely still not 100% on my shrine understanding, but definitely getting closer anyway. Over here in the corner, I'm putting kind of like a lesser shrine, just a smaller one that is pretty close to the main one. I figure you probably go see the main one, and if you're going to do the walk all the way to Pewter City, you probably stop in at that one on your way out. Over here is like an administrative building for the park. I feel like that makes some sense. It's a huge place. It probably requires the effort of a great many people to maintain and keep it clean and all that stuff. And it's maybe a little bit too big of a building, but I think once you see it kind of in context, it's not too bad. And just giving it like a little bit of extra attention here with some decals and stuff. I'm almost done with Viridian City at this point, so I'm trying to really relish the moment and take my time, really enjoy myself. I've really enjoyed this project. It's fun to work on just kind of a more typical Japanese project. In Pallet Town, we were really going for this really picturesque, rural countryside town. Going also for like a very a picturesque shore town, like a fishing village. And that was fun, and I really like doing that. But I'm also just kind of interested in the regular places, something you find a lot when you look at Japan on Google Earth, especially if you just kind of scroll across the whole country, is cities get huge there really fast. And you can find yourself pretty quickly just kind of scrolling around, seeing a big city and being like, well, surely, this is the big one. And then it's not even close to the big one. It's like 1 million people at best. And so that was what I was trying to reflect in this one, is Viridian City is a place that it's big, and a lot of people live here, and there's a lot going on here, but it's not one of the main places. This isn't a big city. This isn't a cultural center, right? So now I'm extending this path out through the forest. Once again, I've spared you a lot of the forest planting. It just it gets really tedious. Up here at the highest points of the path, I'm going to add another shrine. This one, I'm trying to mix it up a little bit by making it a little more stone themed, I guess I would say. It's more gray, using more gray assets, using these kind of like big, bulky stone signs for it. I'm not sure if those make sense there, but I feel like they do. And otherwise just kind of like surrounding it with these detail rocks and putting in some bigger boulders as well, just to really kind of make this place visually stand out from afar. Otherwise, it could very easily just get lost in the trees, and what's the point of that? You know, you do all this work to make a place. You want it to be seen, right? And I figured I'd put this kind of like nice big flat cliff in front of it as sort of just like a little viewing platform, a little precipice, you know, to look out on Viridian City from. If you made the hike all the way up here, you went to see the shrine, and you might as well stay for the view, you know? Check it out. It's pretty good. That was me taking a look at what it looks like from up here. And, you can't see the whole city, but you can see a good amount of it. And that's it for the shrine. This is the last project of the episode. I'm just building a pretty substantial footbridge across this river, and that's going to lead us into Pewter City. And I'm just putting some trussing underneath it using a trick that I saw AORUS do, where you use one of the truss bridges and you just turn it upside down to make it some underlying trussing. And I'm just kind of shrinking it to fit underneath this really, really skinny bridge, and putting these little, these are for overpasses, and I'm using them as bridge abutments, and they are not tall enough for this extremely sharp slope, so I'm also putting in some rocks. I think actually by the end of this place is really awesome looking. The way that the rocks kind of let the river through and then give way to the greenery, it looks super cool. But that's it for the episode, folks. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Jeremy. Find me on Twitter at @JeremyThunder. Check out my podcast, Generation Loss. Become a channel member for early access to episodes, just $5 a month. Check out the description for asset collections. Use my Buy Me a Coffee link for a one-time donation. Thanks for spending your Friday with me. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next episode in Pewter City.